So, it's been a while, but we're back with another basic, intermediate, and expert tier build. Last time, we worked on a conduit design, so we went through 3 different stages, obviously, same as always. And this is the result of the expert tier build. We got good old Neptune just chilling on his little island here, with the conduit inside for the heart, which is pretty sick. Whoa, hang on. I had no idea that it makes a heartbeat sound. I'm a genius. It makes sense because it's the heart of the sea, all that jazz, you know. Wow, I surprise myself sometimes. Anyway, so this was the last one that we did. It was a few months ago now, and I thought it was time to jump back into things and get started on the next one. So what I plan on doing is coming to this desert biome here. It's a small desert biome, but I'm going to convert the area into a normal plains biome because I don't really want to work in a desert biome. And I'm sure that you've already seen from the title, but today we're going to do end portals. So, as always, we're going to start with the basic version, and then we're going to work up to an intermediate and an expert tier. But, let's get on with the basic. So, I've just done the basic version, and I'll admit, I went a little bit overboard. I kind of forgot that I was doing the basic tier, and that's why things got a little bit out of hand. But pretty much what I intended was just to build a little shrine that you walk up the stairs to an end portal at the very top, and that's basically what I've got going on here. The only issue is I then decided to add these crystals. Don't get me wrong, they look really cool. I'm actually happy with how they turned out, but I then realized that that's not really a basic level, is it? So yes, they're cool additions. No, you don't need them in the basic tier. I just added them because I got carried away. But the whole thing with this basic version is the staircase leading up to the top is kind of like a little temple almost. Staircase leading to the top to an end portal that you then jump in. So I think it looks pretty cool. I mean, obviously I've mirrored it around, so I've copied it 90 degrees all the way around, so it's completely symmetrical. I'm really happy with how these crystals turned out, but no, unfortunately it's not really a basic thing. You've got a mixture of like lime concrete, lime and green stained glass, and glass panes. Realistically, you're not going to have this much glass in like a survival or a basic tier end portal. So putting all that to the side, what we have to work with here is the little temple, and for a basic tier I think you can definitely get away with it, maybe not the crystals so much. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to clear it away, and then we're going to make the intermediate tier. And I have a feeling that a lot of you will probably recognize what it's from. But without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? So, I said a lot of you might recognize this one, and if you haven't figured it out, then it's the Portal 2 logo, or Portal logo. Obviously, Portal and Portal 2 is such a good game, I had to do something for it, and it's an end portal that I'm doing this on, so I feel like it was necessary, you know. So basically, I tried to copy the design. You saw that I started working in 2D, and then from that, I basically extracted it from that, and then kind of made it 3-dimensional, messing around with the limbs and stuff like that until I got something that I was pretty happy with. It definitely was interesting because obviously the original is just like a 2D logo, and so I had to make it from 2D to 3D, as well as with the size that I was working with and the kind of shape that the character's falling in. It was kind of iffy, so it looks quite blocky, but I think I kind of pulled it off. So yes, obviously this is a custom end portal, so it's not the same size as a regular end portal. I essentially did the same thing with this as I did with the nether portal, where I basically selected the area and then filled in the interior with the portal block. Also, something that's really weird, I'm not sure if it's just the shaders that I've got on, but when I placed in the end portal, it changes the color of this block. This block usually isn't this purple. You can see on my hotbar, that's what it's meant to look like, but for some reason, the ambient lighting from the portal has made it look purple. Not that that's really an issue, I just found it kind of interesting. For the portal up here, it's the same thing that we had going down here. So this one is the actual end portal, but because Minecraft works weirdly, if you look at an end portal from underneath, it's actually invisible. So I did attempt to put an end portal up here as well, but it was just invisible. So I decided there was not really any point in doing that. So instead, I just filled it in with some black stained glass and then put some grey carpet on top, just to make it look like it's got the same kind of effect going. Right, so now that we've done the intermediate one, it's time to take this, delete it, and then make the expert tier. If you thought this one was big, this next one is bigger. So, got a little carried away and made things quite big. This is the expert tier end portal design that I came up with. Well, I say that I came up with it, I didn't actually. My girlfriend was actually the one that came up with this idea, not myself, so shout out to you, Steph. So, what do we have going on here? Basically, the idea was to make Dante's Inferno, which is the 9 circles of hell. So the way that this works is there's 9 different circles of hell that you have to go through in order to reach the bottom, which at the very bottom is where the end portal is. So as you can see down here, I've made the end portal. It's actually smaller than the last one, but it's more the environment and everything that goes with it that makes it much larger. But obviously we're going to work our way down from the top layer, so walking over the rickety wooden bridge that I've made that reaches over to the top level. This top layer is described as limbo. Essentially the souls of pagans and the unbaptized would wander through these caves in hopes of meeting God. So because I wanted to encapsulate each layer's theme in Minecraft, this is essentially a cave design to match the limbo description. So as we come down the stairs here, we get to the second layer, the layer of lust. So obviously there's a lot going on here. Essentially the souls of lust are constantly blowing around in a storm and in violent winds. So to kind of mimic that and represent that, I did a mixture of stained glass, of white, light grey, and some cobwebs to make it look like there was some sort of tornado or storm going on. I also added in a bunch of dead coral bushes because it kind of gives to the same vibe that's going on. So once we come through the stormy layer of lust, the next layer is gluttony. And essentially because of the souls of gluttony and their cold nature, it's basically just a snowy, icy wasteland. It also describes this layer with icy rain, but there's not really much that I can do about that in Minecraft. So it's basically just a desolate, cold wasteland to match the souls of gluttony. Down to the next layer, we have the layer of greed. Now you can kind of guess what's going on here. We have a lot of gold ore going into gold blocks, and then we've got a layer of lava, a layer of orange stained glass, and a layer of yellow stained glass to signify molten lava. I could have obviously done just regular lava for this, but I'm using that on a later layer as well. Basically, the description for this layer is that the souls of greed are consumed in a pit of smelting gold. Essentially, they get stuck in the pit of gold and they're trying to claw their way out, only to be sucked back in. So, moving on to the next tier down. This tier is very dark, as you can see. It's difficult to see what's actually going on here with these shaders. Also, we've got the lava dripping down from the layer above, thanks to the shaders. Ignoring that though, this is the swampy layer, also known as the layer of anger. This layer is described as an endless battle of wailing souls, and it's also described as a swampy and murky place. I use the same kind of concept that I used above, so basically it's difficult to see here, but I've got a layer of water beneath, I've got a layer of lime stained glass, and then a layer of green stained glass to signify murky waters. So moving down to the next layer, we have the layer of heresy. So we've got a lot going on here. We've got chains, we've got lava, we've got fire, we've got orange stained concrete and terracotta as well to signify the molten lava-ness. And the description for the layer of heresy is that souls are trapped and guarded by demons in this flaming pit for those kind of souls that attempt to escape. So obviously we've got the flaming lava pit here, but to signify that it's kind of like a prison, I've added these large black chains that connect to either side of the rock faces, and then one at the back here as well. So moving down from the prison layer, this is the layer of violence. So the description for the layer of violence is that those who have a thirst for violence are condemned to this pit of boiling blood. Now, basically, it's impossible to see what I've got going on here, so I'm going to turn off the shaders very quickly. I'm not sure if that's much better, but you can actually see what's going on here. So this one I've done a little bit differently. So above, I've obviously done the molten and the swampy layers, which I use that stained glass effect. This one I kind of converted it into more of a Minecraft vibe and essentially made this just like the nether. I basically just wanted to make it look fleshy and bloody. No, it doesn't necessarily have a pit of liquid blood in the middle, but it's a bit more of my own interpretation of it, and it still gives off the fleshy, bloody kind of vibe. Anyway, moving on, we have the layer of fraud. The description of this layer is that souls are essentially thrown down into this layer of darkness, and they're endlessly beaten and tortured by demons. So it's a very dark and horrific concept, but I had to kind of pull it off in Minecraft somehow. So obviously I've kept things dark because it says that the entire layer is darkness, but I also specifically use soul sand for this layer, basically to help justify the description that the souls are basically thrown down here and they're tortured and beaten by the demons. I also added in a bunch of these dead coral blocks and plants as well, just to kind of go with the dark and dead vibe that's on this layer. So moving down to the final layer, we have the layer of treachery. So the description for this layer is that Satan is imprisoned from the waist down in ice, essentially displayed as a trophy of treachery. Now obviously I'm really limited with the space here, so I'm not going to make a miniature Satan down here. So instead of making a miniature statue of Satan, I wanted to work it into the design of the end portal a little bit more, so I basically just made a hole in the center for you to jump down through into the end portal. Kind of signifies the same kind of thing anyway, because when you go into the end, it's essentially like the last stage of your journey in Minecraft, and most likely if you're not very well equipped, you're going to die from the end dragon. So Same thing. So obviously the idea is that you have to travel through each of these 9 layers until you get to the very bottom, where once you've faced all the challenges, you can then jump through the last layer and into the end portal. And I really wanted to make the environment kind of match with it and make it look really interesting. So I've made a bunch of these custom ore spikes that are coming from the ground. We've got small patches of lava scattered around as well to basically tell you that we're very deep down in the ground. Obviously I had to dig down quite far to actually place this in, so it's just there to signify that we are at the base level of the game. And because of how close we were getting to the ocean edge as well, I thought, why not incorporate it? So we've got these waterfalls on each side, basically coming down to the very bottom and surrounding the end portal. But yeah, this was the expert tier end portal. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. Now I have a proposition for you guys. If you want to download this map, then I will release it for free on my Patreon if this video gets to 10,000 likes. So if you want to download this map and use it for yourself or check things out, remember it also includes the other ones that I've done. So we've got the starter house, we've got the tree house, we've got the nether portal, we've got the conduit design, and now we've got the end portal design as well. So if you want to get this world for free and use it yourself, then get this video to 10,000 likes and I'll release it on my Patreon. Now that the bribery is done, I hope that you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, because why not? And yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one actually. It's been a little while since I did one of these basic intermediate expert tier builds, but nevertheless, I hope that you guys enjoyed and I'll see you in the next one.